Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's special episode of Hey Sister. Hey Sister, how you doing?
Hey, sister. I I don't know how I'm doing right now. I
Okay.
There are a lot of things happening in this brain. So
Yes.
I definitely maybe Hey Sister has become a form of therapy that I didn't recognize was a form of therapy. Um, because we haven't been here for a while.
Yes. So if you haven't noticed, for those of you who were regular, like every Sunday, we have embraced the concept of rest and really being intentional about when we broadcast, when we go live. We may have a new plan in 2026, but we're just like, hey, when it hits us, we're going on and have those conversations. We said, hey, sister is for sisters. It's about sisters and misters. And it's between us sisters. It's the conversations that we always would have on a regular basis. And I think we have done a lot. We have fed a lot of good content into the world. But child, the content that the folks is have a heavy diet on, it is a mess. I don't know if you feel the same way, but I certainly do. But who
Well,
knows?
I will say this. I don't know. I know a lot of people, I notice like on threads, people are they put stuff up and they're trying to, I guess, call themselves feeding the algorithm. I don't know that it works like that just by writing out, like, where's the content with the successful Black women happy on
Mhm.
the beach drinking lattes. I don't know if it works like that. But I definitely would like to figure it out because I need to train my dragon to uh to perform differently. I am listen, we're gonna talk about the rapture. I am very tired of some of God's children.
Ooh, God, because they said when all God's children get to heaven, what a time. All of y'all ain't going. I'm just gonna say it right there, leave it right there. Look,
I didn't say that.
what
I
we
didn't
need
get to
you to
judge whether they're going or not. All I'm saying is
the word told us they all ain't going. The word has told us that. Listen, y'all like, follow, share, and subscribe. Y'all can see the channels that we're on. We go live on Facebook and on YouTube. So you can go back and watch old episodes on YouTube. You can certainly find us on our website. You can go there and download content, old episodes to watch, or even old episodes that you might just want to listen to on your drive time. And certainly, if you're with us live, you can join the conversation in the comments. And if you're not with us live, drop a comment in. We do reply to comments, okay? We like to be engaged. And so if you are tuning in, thank you for tuning in. Just let us know that you're tuning in live with us. We'd appreciate that. Um, so, sister, so we have a lot of things to cover tonight. You've alluded to it. So why don't you go ahead? I don't even have my music to cue up. I don't even have. Hold on. Let me go find it. Let me go find it. But why don't you tell the folks a little bit about uh
well, listen,
Rapture Talk?
I don't know how we got here, but I hear that it happened on TikTok. I'm not um very active on TikTok. I know this might sound crazy, but it's not intuitive to me. So I just don't want to see videos like that. I feel like anyway. So apparently though on TikTok, I don't even know how this conversation came up. I'm afraid to ask or ponder, but apparently September 23rd, Tuesday, September 23rd is Rapture. And
I'm gonna drop a link in there about it so y'all can go read it for yourself. How it started, where it started, all the things about the Rapture Talk. Go on.
Yeah, and so what I'm hearing, I don't know anybody that falls into these categories, but what I'm hearing is that there are people who are creating Rapture kits. I'm really not certain what a Rapture kit is, because if you're going to be gone, I don't know why you would be leaving instructions for like what I'm about to do with your stuff after you're gone. I don't know that. So Rapture kits, I'm hearing that people are selling their vehicles. Um which I guess you won't need a vehicle, but um you must not have really needed a vehicle that much anyway. So yeah, so basically, the the comedian Kev on stage, he's been doing some videos, like getting some input from people in other time zones, because his question was at what time zone. If you We've all learned that no man knows the date nor the time, or the day nor the time. So if you purport to know the date, then what time zone is it? That's his premise. And it's a very good one, because obviously it's already the 23rd in some parts of the world.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, and then when you think about places like what's Ethiopia, that has a completely different calendar, like how does that work? So
I don't know, but all I know is,
you
you
please
know,
tell the people some of this foolishness you called me with last night.
we have a great friend who is the firm believer in Jesus Christ, and she recently posted something about not making fun or making light of people, but really examining yourself and say, hey, are you going to be prepared for whenever, if you that believer, and whether or not praying for those people to have repent. um I'm not quite there yet in my walk, because I'm still clowning folks. She was like, "Don't make jokes of them." I'm sorry. When I saw the video and the woman was talking about, when you are being caught up in the air, just lay back and take a deep breath and don't look down like Lot's wife. I was like, Lot's wife didn't look down; she looked back. Like, girl, what book you read? I don't know. I don't know. Like,
And she certainly wasn't ascending in the air.
it was
I
not
mean,
ascending in the air, certainly not. So there are, yes, people, they're leaving lists for, if you in their homes, leaving kids in their homes, so when people come to their house, they'll know what to do.
if
Why
you go, why? What difference do it
why
make?
are you worried? Like, why is you worried about what somebody's gonna do with a car, with a house, with a list? If you're a true believer, right? If you're a
Right.
believer that you are gonna be caught up with the Lord, why is you worried about these earthly possessions? Because you ain't supposed to be worried about these earthly possessions. It's so very interesting. You and I had this talk, and I'm gonna pull out our little book, it's our little Sunday school book. Keep it right here in my drawer in my office here. Our lesson yesterday was on false prophets. Our lesson yesterday was on false prophets. And I mean, no, like when we closed that call, then I started seeing this stuff on social media later that day. And I was like, the Lord, I don't know how he's doing it. Well, we know how he do it because he's omnipresent and omniscient. Every lesson, every week, our lesson is right on point in what happened during the week. And so he talked about the false prophets. Now, we don't have this explicitly in here, but this whole not funeral or celebration of life, but political rally thing, the idolatry,
Well,
the
I think that
blasphemy,
I think
this
that
all goes hand in hand.
yeah,
Foolishness.
yeah. No, I think it all is interconnected, because I'm not even sure how did. I mean, from what you told me, I didn't see it. But from what you told me, you saw some meme or you saw some picture, um, and that um, there are people suggesting that Mr. Kirk would be resurrected, and he died to save sins.
No, I actually saw a video of a man who stated as he was walking and on his walk today, and he felt this gust of wind, and it hit him that Charlie Kirk died for our sins. And I said, turn that off, because baby, I'm not playing with my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Okay. They ain't doing it. I'm not messing with y'all folks out here with these declarations. Um, Yeah, not doing it. All I know is that the only rapture I recognize, I posted it on my Facebook page earlier, is the Rapture by Anita Baker. And I posted the bounce version of it because everything, a rapture goes better with a bounce beat like everything else. And if you are of a certain age like myself, you might want to do the Rapture by Blondie, right? With Fab Five Freddy, she was talking about the dawn and the birth of rap music. Okay, so that's all I got to say on this side thing. Anything else in closing, girl?
Well, again, I think that a lot of this, there's a lot of connective tissue here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, False prophets, um, yeah, creating martyrs and deities out of uh,
Human beings.
human beings,
Mm-hmm.
having cult like followings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Using, dare I say it, the C word. And I mean Christian. I mean Christian.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Using that word, that was a part of our conversation as a point that I brought up. You know, um, is it time for us to distinguish ourselves differently? Because just like the term woke has been bastardized, and I like, we probably should have come on here, but everything happens for a reason. We probably should have come on here a while ago, though, because we've had a lot of good lessons, and in these last few weeks, the lessons really have driven home the point for me that seemingly the actual word of God, if you believe in Jesus Christ, if you consider yourself a part of the body of Christ, if you consider yourself to be a follower, if you utilize the Bible, the Holy Bible, as the text that you follow, all the things that it tells us is antithetical to the things that are being projected by these political leaders who claim to be Christians. Like, again, the bastardization of the term woke. And we literally had a lesson called Be Vigilant. And we literally had a lesson called Be Ready.
Mm-hmm.
And in both of those lessons, there was conversations about what it means to be watchful and watchfulness. And when you do just a simple Google search about vigilance and watchfulness in biblical terms, it absolutely does reference what they're telling you not to do. It references being woke and being alert and understanding like you're going to have forces coming up against you. So you again have to study, show yourself approved, and be ready when you come up against false prophets. So it's just been amazing to me that everything the so-called Christians are telling folks to do is antithetical to like everything we're reading biblically.
Mm-hmm.
I just read something that was that was posted by Occupy Democrats about I guess Cardinal Dolan perhaps being replaced because he's now reached the age of 75. He has to do his mandatory retirement, but saying that he had been comparing Charlie Kirk to St. Paul. Now look, we all sin and fall short of the glory of God.
Mm-hmm.
I would not compare myself to St. Paul.
Right.
As a cardinal, one would think that you have met enough people in your life and in the work that you do, who would be a better comparison. And so it's strange to me that you have people that say that they, again, proclaiming Christianity. And yeah, we talking about a rapture. We talking about somebody dying for our sins. We're talking about somebody being considered a sainthood who was a modern day Bull Connor. I'm sorry.
Well, I dropped in here in the comments the what we studied on yesterday, and then just you can do a quick Google search on your own, and you can go look up the scriptures yourself. But there are over 50 references to being awake in the Bible. So if you are truly, as you said, a follower, a believer, then you will see, again, as someone said before, Jesus is too woke for these Christians. So these folks that's calling themselves Christians right here, Jesus is too woke for them. So that is what the irony of all of it is. And what we also know for sure is that, hey, it is our responsibility, it is our obligation, if you are a person of faith, to have faith, to believe, to then follow the words and the teachings of Christ, and then pray for everybody else, because that's all we can do within our control and our power. I think that with the ecosystem that we have, the media ecosystem, the social media ecosystem, our political ecosystem, it really gets difficult because it is designed for you to lose focus on that. And I think for all of us, we can do, the best thing we can do is remain focused and remain vigilant. And when people start making these declarations about raptures and anything else, or these false idols and all the idolatry, that we just remind ourselves, we've seen this before. We're going to see it again. And what is my responsibility? That's it. Let me live my responsibility.
And I agree that our responsibility is certainly to pray for folks. And I've had to ask so specifically, like, what does that look like?
Like, Lord, what you want me to be praying about for
Right,
these people? Because
right,
I'm struggling right now.
right. And sometimes, as we've discussed, it might just be the same prayer that Jesus himself, Father, forgive them, for they know not what
Yeah,
they
what
do.
they do.
So that may just be it. But to your earlier point, love our good sis. But yes, I am going to also slightly clown some of these people, because let's just put it like this. Even if rapture did happen tomorrow, it would not be that you guessed it, like you were right. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't be
Everybody want to be the first to report.
right.
It's
And
like live from the rapture. I mean, they want to go live on TikTok or social media. Like, it's like, really?
right.
If that's what you're concerned about, you have already lost focus. Like you said, Lord, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Because if that is what you doing, you already doing the wrong thing.
Like, and like, do they think like somebody's gonna be like, you know what? She sure did call it. But if you gone, does it matter? You're not gonna know that you called it. Are you? Like, I don't. So my whole point is, like, one of the phrases that we say in our community, stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
That's right.
Stay ready so I don't have to get ready. But I might have to clown some of these people in the process, because I need you to stop playing in our faces. If you really know the word and you're calling yourself a Christian, Now, if you like, I don't even believe in none of this, then cool.
That's you. Do you?
Do
Yeah.
you, boo. But if you're really sitting up here saying that you follow the word of God and you are a follower of Christ, and you sitting up here selling your car before September 23rd, or you're leaving instructions for your dog in your house and your water bill, I
You worried about the wrong thing.
and I can't take you seriously.
And
So,
I cannot take you seriously. I
but so
cannot take you
far,
seriously.
at least according to what Kev on stage has put out there have been no reports globally.
Child. And they won't be because, as someone has said, this what this country practices is Christianity, and what everybody else practices is
And
Christianity.
that's another thing. It's like, do you understand how self-centered you must be to feel like the United States of America? First of all, okay, this came about on TikTok. TikTok wasn't even derived in the United States of America, right?
Mm-mm.
So how self-centered must you be to now center yourself and
Mhm.
suggest that not only do you know the date, but you are going to tell people what to do when it happens. Just breathe. What? I mean, and I'm not a
Raptorologist.
rapturologist, but I kind of think you'll be dead, right?
Sleep,
Something.
something. The consciousness won't be there.
Right. So I
Girl,
don't
let's
know
go.
that you're going to be like, let me take some deep breaths, some cleansing deep breaths. Okay.
Okay. Anyway, TikTok, you don't stop to the TikTok,
Mhm.
you don't stop. Y'all, TikTok, have you heard? Y'all know about TikTok being on sale? I don't know what the conversation was with the person who sits in the White House and the person who sits over there in Beijing, but TikTok is for sale. The US version of TikTok. And I read a couple things and I dropped an article in here from Political, and it talks about how all the algorithm is going to be shifted and changed, and that all Oracle is going to be over the algorithm. And so I would say if you are a heavy TikTok user, and you like, so TikTok shop already is no longer really profitable for people because they were buying things that were from China, right? So the whole TikTok shop, the whole profit um model is about to collapse. For
Mhm.
those of you who have built your businesses and your brands on TikTok, you may, and I don't know if this sale is ever going to really happen because there's so many millions of people on TikTok. So what that pressure might look like, but I would be very cautious and conscientious about how the algorithm is going to be fed. Just how there's all this controversy and conversation about how AI is being taught and what it's using, how this algorithm is going to be fed. Because what we do know right now, for sure, with our current political state and federal government, there is a push in changing history.
Mhm.
There is a push in changing education, the whole education system, and really rewrite that whole PragerU thing. We talked about that a couple years ago, and honey, here they are introducing it right here in the state that I live in. Um, it is a propaganda. It's going to be a big propaganda tool. So if you don't want to have your cortisol level high and you stressed out, look, our friend Denise too says, "Take me, please, girl." Listen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be careful with this TikTok. I don't know, had you read or heard about some of this stuff that's happening with TikTok?
So of course I knew that they were saying that they had to have an American buyer. They said that a long time ago, when they shut down TikTok for the whole 24 hours that they did in order to give Donald Trump some big shout out for bringing it back. Well, I mean, you're the one who shut it down, so I don't know that you get kudos for that, but I guess. Um, but there's one word that you said that jumped out at me, and that was Oracle. And what we always say here is follow the money.
Follow the money.
And if you know who's over Oracle, and if you know who he supports politically, and if you know who his son is, and if you just tie all these things together, and I would not be surprised if somehow the US government also has a 10% stake in this new version of TikTok, like it will have in this new version of Intel Corporation. And all I see is shakedown after shakedown after shakedown. And what I have to believe is that because Meta CEO is playing nice, Amazon CEO is playing nice. In fact, Amazon CEO, in my opinion, all he worried about was getting married in a country that didn't nobody want him to get married in, and he has pretty much taken his foot off the gas completely.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well, don't forget the friend. I'm on this lovely Mac computer. Tim Cook was over there at the state dinner in
I was,
London
I,
too.
I'm getting around to all of them. Yeah, I think that when we look across the board, each one of these tech CEOs is bending over backwards, and they're doing that for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and clearly, it can't be hitting their bottom line enough because once we get to our next, when we talk about this Jimmy Kimmel situation, it can't be hitting their bottom line enough. So again, follow the money. It is really time to ass whoopings and pocketbooks. That's it. That's it. I mean, ass whoopings and pocketbooks. That's all that some people understand. And if you don't hit them in one of them,
Jeffrey Sloan for giving us that one.
shout out. Yes, Jeffrey. I mean, I added the pocketbook, but
Yeah,
you
the
know.
pocketbook. He just said ass whoopings and money. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what's understood, and because that's what's understood, that means that we have to follow the money train,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to start being a bit more aggressive. If the U.S. now owns TikTok, if the U.S. owns the algorithm, what are you going to be fed? Um, Charlie Kirk might be deceased, but you have the Nick Fuenteses of the world. You have, I forgot the other little cat who was real popular a few years ago.
You got the
Um,
Joe Rogan's, whatever that
you got
comedian,
the Joe.
what was that comedian who had all the stuff to say? Oh my gosh, I can't think of his name. I see his face. You got the Bill Maher's of the world who is like,
Yeah.
bruh, do you not remember your roots? Okay, clearly you don't.
Sometimes I just need to show him a picture of Superhead, apparently, so we can get your mind back right, because you done forgot. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, I just feel like if you look across the board, across the board, everybody is playing the game, and it ultimately will be because just like in communist countries, they own media, they own the media outlets. This is the beginning of it. The Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert experiment was a part of it. This will be the next part of it. So how do we, like you said, propagandize one of the most influential platforms out there?
Yeah.
And if
Well,
you don't watch it, yeah, okay, go ahead.
well, let's talk about the resurrection of Jimmy Kimmel, right? Because at first, what they had said was he was going to be off the air indefinitely. So
Mhm.
indefinitely means to never return. Y'all know that's what indefinitely means. And I will say the people in the group chat said, "Okay, hold my beer." And the Disney Plus subscriptions and the Hulu subscriptions were dropping. I even saw the actress Cynthia Nixon, and she was like, "We are gonna miss Abbott Elementary. We are gonna miss this, but we are gonna miss it." I saw another post that say someone asked the kids asked, "Well, why were they canceling Disney?" And they said, "Well, remember Andor." Which is one of the Star Wars franchise shows that they have, and it's like they decided to join the Empire. And the kids were
Mm.
like, "Oh, okay, they understood that." So yeah, we the resistance. They understood it. And we've talked about it before. We believe in PBS, we believe in NPR, believe in public broadcasting. So make sure that you have your membership to your public broadcasting station and support them. There's some great content out there. A lot of great. They have a new PBS was PBS joined in the fun, was like, yeah, and we have a new Ken Burns documentary coming out. So they're like, come on, if you're gonna cancel it. Um, but I also saw someone say, you know what, hey, I'm not canceling Hulu yet, but I will watch Reasonable Doubt and Reasonable Doubt only. Why? Because we do not want this show. We do not want them to use the excuse of low ratings for this show to go away. This is a beautiful show, fantastic acting and cast, um, led by a beautiful Black woman, and we don't have a lot of shows like that. And so
Right.
the Onyx Collective is behind it, and she's like, she gonna support it. So I was like, you know what? Respect. People make their own choices. But what I know, as you talked about. So, Jimmy Kimmel's being resurrected, but it all has to do with this: follow the money. Now, what I'm going to drop here in the chat is, well, first I want to drop this article in here because the Sinclair broadcast group has said that they are going to continue to enter they didn't say interrupt. I can't remember what it called, but preempt. Yes, they're going to preempt Jimmy Kimmel on the stations that they own. And there were those who posted and were like, "Yeah, cancel the Disney subscription, but you also have to get into these broadcast groups and you have to contact their advertising. So you have to know what stations are owned by these broadcast groups, where they are in your area, and you contact your local station. You contact the advertisers for these shows and programs, because that is what happens. Some would like to say that, oh, the boycott against Target didn't work. It worked. All that drop in revenue worked, and I promise you, all that drop in revenue is one of the reasons why ABC had a conversation with Jimmy Kimmel, because I don't know the number of thousands that they lost in a day, but when you lose that in a day, oh yeah, things shift and things change.
I think it was, I forgot, I just looked it up. I want to say $3.8 billion worth of subscriptions lost.
And
Um,
y'all know right now, streaming is everything. And so if you lose that much in subscription,
but you can look it up. Look it up, because I don't want to lie to these folks, the 4 or 5 folks that are listening to us. I don't
well,
want
they're
to
listening to us live. Others will
Yeah,
watch in the replay. So as we always say, make sure you like, follow, share, and subscribe, because there's going to be
absolutely.
something here that you have to share with somebody else. Okay. Join the conversation in the comments. If you learn something or you want to, just come on, join the conversation in the comments.
Yeah.
But
So,
I want to say this about these broadcast networks as well, because I don't want to lose this point. So Sinclair. So I want to just kind of give you some of the Tennis Channel and the Nest or whatever. But the Next Star Media Group, that's another big one. That WGN, CW, News Nation, The Hill, Antenna TV, and WGN are all under it. And they are in the process. So remember how that whole FCC thing fits in. They're in the process of acquiring Tegna, which is another broadcast group. So All I'm going to say is look them all up, find out where the stations are in your area, find out what shows are being or are broadcast or who the advertisers are for these stations. And that's where you write that nice little letter. So I say do all the things because you like shout out to Jeffrey Sloan once again. And as my sister said it, they know two things: ass whippings and pocketbooks. So the ass whipping is that you lose those subscriptions and your reputational damage to your brand. That's what happened to Target, that reputational damage. And on top of that, the financial impact and stockholders, because at the end of this day, this is still a capitalistic country, and it is driven by dollars. The economy is not all that great right now, and I know the Fed is going to cut interest rates and do some other things to try to make it work. But these tariffs are having an impact. Y'all know groceries and everything is still high. Y'all know all of these farmers are losing their farms because they ain't selling them soybeans to China. So what do? If you own the media, you can influence the minds and you can have people lose focus on what's really happening in their lives so that they don't take action. All right, I'm off my soapbox. Go ahead, sister.
No, I was just gonna say, I mean, yes, you can own the media, but you can also rewrite the narrative, right?
Yes.
And so a few things you alluded to them. I'll just go a little bit deeper into them. So Next Star, like you said, is a broadcast group, or is yes, a broadcast group, and um, so is Sinclair. And so when you think about it, the Walt Disney Company owns ABC that produces Jimmy Kimmel. But outside of their own television stations, and I can't remember how many it is, 7, 12, something like that. So they own a few ABCs stations in some major markets, WABC, KABC, things like that. Bay Area, Los Angeles, New York, things like that. But when you look around Louisiana, Texas, these other Nebraska, for example, those are ABC affiliates, and so things like Nexstar, Tegna, Sinclair, they don't just own, you just named a few, but they don't just own just the ABC affiliate. In some markets, they might own the NBC affiliate. So if you're in a market where they own a local affiliate, like you said, it's not just about Jimmy Kimmel coming on the ABC network. It's about if you are in a market where Sinclair owns multiple stations, those advertisers, who are they advertising with? And who's local dollars, who's spending locally to advertise on those stations? If you stop supporting those businesses locally, they'll start feeling that impact. Um, Look, Jimmy Kimmel was gonna be all right regardless. You see, Stephen Colbert won his Emmy, okay? So they are going to be all right regardless. I think the bigger conversation here is the fact that a person's tragic death, and the death of Charlie Kirk was tragic. A person's tragic death, people are saying that we shouldn't have political violence and we shouldn't politicize it, but that's exactly what happened here. You had a comedian who said nothing unkind about the person who died,
About the tragic death of the
about the
person who died.
tragedy itself.
Yes.
Simply stated, a reporter asked Donald Trump how he was doing. If my friend died, someone asked, but how are you doing? And your response is like, yeah, no, I'm good. And look over here, they're building this fabulous. We got all this construction going on. And his response is, oh yes, because of course the fourth stage of grief is construction or something like that. he is not making light of the tragedy. He is questioning, well, what kind of friend are you
Hmm.
that your immediate response was, oh, they're doing construction over here. Then let's add insult to injury from the political rally that took place, guys, as disguised as a funeral or memorial service. You said, oh, he forgave his or he had, he forgave his political his enemies. I don't. I
Yeah.
hate them. Like, you are literally the president of the United States of America. Uh, Even as much as that challenges me daily.
Yes.
And this is what you said. You hate your political,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it shouldn't even be. Again, where are these quote unquote Christian values that we're talking about? But
So let's
back,
go, let's rewind just a little bit though.
yeah, I
Like
was going to go back.
let's paint the picture. We are talking about a memorial service with the Stephen Miller with the they're trying to bring us, like, who the day you talking about that's trying to bring it down? Like, I mean, serious straight up Klan rally comments or Nazi comments.
Right,
You had voter registration.
right.
You had all of this. You had a whole like media role. Say what now?
Yeah.
How was that honoring that person's life?
They said
Okay.
they probably played a video. But, I wanted to even go back a little even further than that. So where I was going with these different groups, ultimately you need FCC approval in order to acquire if this group A wants to acquire group B, you need FCC approval to do that. And FCC approval, sometimes can get tricky if it begins to look like you are becoming a monopoly, right? So we all understand that part. They don't want these groups to get too big, right? Because they're not supposed to control so much of the media and things like that. A few years ago, you remember AT&T was broken up again because it
Mhm.
felt like, wait, you own too many pieces of the distribution pie, you know. So FCC dude, he out here talking real big reckless on these podcasts and things like that. So of course, this media group is going to jump out like they really cared about what Jimmy Kimmel had to say. No. Old boy had already tipped us off a few months ago because his mouth runs like water. So he
Mhm.
had already said, oh, once Stevie Colbert got fired, oh, I'm hearing that Jimmy Kimmel and, they're next, right?
Right.
Jimmy Fallon, they're next. So he'd already let us know. And they were just looking for the opportunity. And this became the opportunity for them to say, here's reason for us to position ourselves and get this good favor from the FCC chairman.
Mhm.
And so it's actually very ridiculous how politicized this whole thing is when y'all claiming this about Jimmy Kimmel saying something bad about the dead. Baby, one thing we don't do in our community. Now, I know Jimmy ain't technically in our community, but one thing we don't do in our community is talk ill of the dead, honey. So we are not talking ill of the dead. That man just brought out a very obvious point, and y'all jumped on it. Y'all latched onto it as a capitalistic opportunity to say, if we jump in right now, they was playing double dutch. They was like, wait, what? Jump in. Jumped in, jumped on it, and decided that this was going to be their opportunity to secure this merger situation and secure whatever future political um, moves that they plan to make. And it's like, y'all sitting up here, but y'all want to pretend that this is about this man's life and what he said and who he was. No, it wasn't. No, you saw an opportunity. You capitalized on an opportunity because you're opportunistic.
Yes.
And then people responded in kind, and now Jimmy is gonna be back
Yeah.
tomorrow. And if you don't think he's gonna clown, huh?
You ain't been watching South Park.
Because again, ain't nobody went after South Park.
And South Park has been clowning hard. And I don't even watch South Park, honey. Just this what comes up in my feed. I'm like, they are really clowning hard. Okay.
They have.
And even when Stephen Colbert got canceled, they clowned all that was the thing. Every late night host came on, you know. So yeah, it is gonna be a clown hard. So it'll be interesting. As we said, follow the money. You know, in the comments, we dropped some of the articles so you can read for yourself. You can see the number of Disney cancellations that happened in that short period of time. You can see the impact. But if you really want to go the step further, it is look at these broadcast media groups. Look at Sinclair, look at Nexstar, look at Tegna, look at what stations they own in your area, and
And
look
look
at
at what business that they're trying to do in the next few months and
yeah.
years.
Because, honey, when I saw that, because you know, sometimes every now and then I like a little something on the Antenna TV, but Nexstar owns Antenna TV. You know, so now I got to look at Get Comedy because you know, at 4 o'clock in the morning, I do want to watch.
I mean, it's just like Fox, like we talked about before. Fox owns Tubi. Now, listen, does the average person really connect the dots between that? No, they don't. So they see a lot of black faces and a lot of black content. But when you think back on the history of Fox as a network, that's exactly how they built the network
They
off of
built
the
the
backs of
network
black
off of
content.
black bodies, black content in living color. Was the start.
Yeah.
So don't ever get it twisted. So yes, follow the money, follow the advertisers, and stop doing business with those people. And you know what the truth is? You know, this is final quarter of the year. We all really need to assess like, do we need more stuff or not? You know, because if you don't need a whole bunch more stuff, kind of get back into community building, community connection, family building, family connection, experiences and time shared. Honey, we all took the basic economics in high school, supply and demand. If we shrink demand, these these major corporations will have to behave in kind
Right.
by either if there's a large supply, they're gonna lower the prices on that supply because they gotta get it out. Like
Yeah.
it's basic supply and demand.
And let me just say one last thing, because you brought up Target also. Let me tell you something, Target. Ain't nobody food also using De La Soul, okay? You know, I be so mad watching these commercials now because there was a time when they had these they had multicultural representation in their commercials and it felt good, right? And we thought it was because they were, again, they understood the assignment. All your one job is to not be Walmart, and they weren't being Walmart. And we thought that. And now I look at it and I just feel like it's a slap in the face. Because
Yes.
now I feel like you are putting it out there. You have still these multicultural communities represented in your commercials. You're using De La Soul as your in your branding, but the truth is you don't even believe the messages yourself.
Right. Absolutely. Well, we'll see, child. Well, this last story, this will be a little fun for us. We're gonna talk about kazoos, y'all. Like we said, we were talking about the
Like,
resurrection of Kimmel, because honey, everybody ain't being resurrected, but Kimmel was resurrected. We talking about the rapture, and then we gonna talk about kazoos. So let me pull this up, and the video, we might have to play it again from
pick
the
up the
beginning.
pixie. That's
But
all.
oh wait, hold on. Let me get this video up here so I
Please do.
can share this screen with y'all. Um
And we
So,
ain't even talked about the vaccine either.
oh
Okay.
yeah, we got yeah. Well, this school in Memphis had the
Memphis Central
Memphis,
versus Brighton, Tennessee.
Brighton, Tennessee. Brighton had the audacity to say, "Oh, your band is too loud," so they didn't want their band to play. But baby, I don't know who their principal and band director is, but they brought the kazoos out. Let's look. Let me just tell you, them children gave me life. Let me tell you those shit. So first of all, you know how good you have to be in your instrumentation and musicality to make a kazoo sound good? Do you know how good you have to be for your whole drum line to be playing on the railing
Really?
in syncopation, the syncopation in time? You saw the band director. There's even an image. If you watch the rest of the video, you'll see they drum majors is up there getting
Yeah.
into it. Baby, they gave me life. Don't see, this is the thing. Like we say, why y'all trying to play in our face and trying to play in these children's face? Because you don't like, because let's just be honest, the euphemism for loud is black.
Yeah.
That's
I
all
mean,
you meant.
let's set it up. I think I want to say that the Memphis Shelby County public school system is roughly 75% Black. You can look at this band, you can tell that they are probably a predominantly Black school. It's Memphis Central, so I'm going to guess that they're probably predominantly Black. The Brighton, Tennessee, I want to say the demographics of the area were like 90-ish percent white. Eh, It doesn't matter. We can say 75%. It doesn't matter. The principal is definitely a white woman. And you know what infuriates me
Hold
is
on. If you Google it, is Brighton, Tennessee a good place to live? It says Brighton offers a tranquil environment with peaceful streets, perfect for anyone seeking calm surroundings.
okay, ask it what's the demographics.
Oh Lord, now you want me to ask me the demographics.
The bottom line is not only did the football team win, but how you get beat by a band playing kazoos. You know how sad your band gotta be that the kazoo
The kazoos and the railing.
and the railing was still better than your band. And listen, we come from a band culture where we rolled our heels and we
We
understood.
were of the Ohio State.
Right. And listen,
The
don't play Ohio State. I know they got a great band. So
Yeah,
I'm not
we
even
were
playing
of
that. But
no,
yeah,
yeah, we were
that
of
was the
the
culture.
drum corps ilk.
Right.
We were
Drum
definitely
corps.
trained in a drum corps. If you ever watched drum corps,
Yes.
that was the band tradition we grew up in. We didn't grow up in the HBCU band culture tradition that some others did. We grew
Correct.
up in both have value, both are great. Look, she said, girl, I was talking about Miss Stafford tonight. Yes, Miss Stafford, John Stafford, baby. The Stafford pedigree was strong. So we grew up in that. And the truth is that Thibodeau High of that era, because you had to like really be able to play your instrument, because you started with Miss Stafford, and then when you got to high school, you got to her husband, John Stafford. They would have sounded good on kazoos and on the railings too, because you had to be a musician.
Sure, but you probably
Okay.
wouldn't have been playing that. You probably would have been
Would have been
playing
playing Danny Boy.
right. Listen,
Because
all
when
I'm
I was drum corps, when I was drumline, when we started doing Go Haywood, and we did when they decided to start doing their own things, we
well,
shifted some things.
that's what's crazy. You all did go Haywood. The principals, the administrators, the people in charge wanted to stop you all
They
from
sure did.
doing it because clearly it was too loud,
It was
right?
too loud. The,
Except
the
that
powers that be.
the
Yes,
powers that
the
be
band
wanted to stop
director
it.
was mad that first time, baby, when they popped out and did it. Oh yes.
But the
Denise,
crowd
you
loved it.
remember? You remember Denise Toops? I know you remember.
But the crowd loved it.
Yes.
And it became a staple. And for a long time, people didn't even know who Haywood was, but it was something that was still going
They
on as
changed
a
it to Go
tradition.
Tiger, and we was like, no, y'all, that's Go Haywood. Like y'all, like
But what I will say is with this particular band, I applaud those young musicians. I applaud their band directors because talk about some innovation. And there was one little white boy in the front, honey. And he was giving me life too, because could nobody tell? He it was like he was gonna be the pride of Memphis Central. Because what
yes,
you
he
not
was.
gonna do is tell us, Miss Brighton, Tennessee principal, that we can't play here. And so I mean, shout out to them. Because if somebody said in one of the comments that I saw, this is soul food, baby. Give us anything and we gonna make it soul food.
Hmm.
They they didn't need their instruments because they're the instruments.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
But oh, flavorless Brighton, Tennessee principal over there, she ain't know. Oh, not adding salt to her chicken, Tennessee, Brighton, Tennessee principal didn't know.
Oh,
She
yes,
didn't know they was
indeed.
coming with the kazoos and a little bit of fire.
That's all you need. That is all you need. Listen, our time is going to expire shortly. So thank y'all for tuning in to Hey Sister. We do want to say this in closing. Two things. One, follow the advice of your medical professional. All of this stuff that's coming out from this Health and Human Services Administration, the non-public health guidance that we are under from this Centers of Disease Control and that whole system, you need to be wary, be aware, as we said, dare we say, be woke,
Stay woke.
because a lot of the guidance, especially as it relates to vaccines, is an effort so that if the guidance is changed, that insurance companies do not have to then pay for it. We say always follow the money. And if your insurance company doesn't have to pay for it, are you going to foot the bill for it?
Hmm.
And if the guidance is such, then Medicaid is not going to cover it. The majority of children in this country, I think over 40, it might be about 60%. It's definitely over 40% of children born in these United States of America are Medicaid recipients, because Medicaid is for indigent mothers and children primarily. That's the primary recipients of Medicaid. Medicare guidance changing means that our senior citizens vaccines may not be covered. That is what is at work and at play here. It is not just that this stuff is random. There are dots to connect. You see, we got dots behind us on the screen. Start connecting some of those dots. That's what this stuff is about.
Can I say something really
Go
quickly about
ahead,
that?
girl.
Because there was a press conference. If you
That we
listen,
can't pronounce acetaminophen?
that is correct. Um, but there was also no data provided. There was just a lot of, because I think and what I think and how I feel, feelings aren't facts.
Mm-mm.
And you had Mehmet Oz. Okay, we remember Mehmet Oz, and he ran for political office, and we know what he is on these days. You have Robert F. Kennedy Jr., whose entire family don't even mess with him, and you have Donald John Trump. And these three men are not the picture of health. And so I am concerned as someone who has never, ever had a child. I am concerned when a person thinks that a woman should not be taking acetaminophen or Tylenol um, when she's pregnant, and that's the only reason they are linking to autism, or that's the primary reason they're linking to autism. If you just listen to, like, clear out your brain and then just listen. And if you walk away hearing something that makes sense to you, I would love to hear it. I would love to understand it, because I heard nothing that made sense. I just did not hear anything that made sense. Nothing connected the dots. It was literally just people saying what they feel
Yeah.
and what they think and how they speculate. And remember, one of those people speculated that if you drank bleach, you would be cured of COVID
We
as
can
well.
inject that bleach, and or we could put that light, that
Yeah.
infrared light, the UV light inside. Yeah. Mhm. So again, I would say follow the direction of your personal healthcare professionals. I was pregnant more than once. I also had children that when a child has a fever, that yes, it is Tylenol, and then alternating Tylenol and Motrin was what was recommended, because actually, children, if their fevers go untreated, they could have febrile seizures caused by fever. Women, the most precarious health situation you're in your life is during pregnancy. And
Mhm.
so if you get sick and you're trying to navigate symptoms, and again, on top of that, they're saying don't get the COVID vaccination. So if you are a pregnant woman and you're following this, God bless you if you are completely healthy and have a perfectly healthy pregnancy. Great. But if you get COVID or you get the flu and you have to manage those symptoms, and which fever could be very dangerous, especially if it's high and prolonged, and they're just saying, "Oh, just tough it out."
Right.
Get the
And in Cuba, I believe, in Cuba, this is how I will say it. I believe it's Cuba. They don't have Tylenol because they can't afford it, but they don't have autism. What? I,
lie.
but it's like there's probably a lot of things that, like, I would actually think our food supply might be more concerning than Tylenol at this point.
As we said, our food supply, our lack of physical activity, we've
Mhm.
taken recess out of school, we've taken PE requirements. We were required to do physical education. It is no longer a requirement in colleges or high schools. Many, not all,
It's
but
a
many
plethora of
across the
it's a
country.
plethora of things, and that's why
That's what I'm saying. It is a plethora of things. So when I hear RFK Jr. talking about how we're so unhealthy as a country, there are so many other things. But I promise you, not having measles, not having mumps, and not having rubella or chickenpox, or people even remembering what polio is and look like, or even having never interacted with someone who was deaf because their mom had rubella when they were pregnant. I remember all of this. I worked with someone who had polio as a kid. Like, I actually saw the evidence of people, because this lady was older than me. So I saw the evidence of not having vaccinations available to people. I had chickenpox. But by the time you were born, they had a chickenpox vaccine in that short period of time. I had chickenpox as a kid because they didn't have a chickenpox vaccine when I was born. So for this, the insanity that is out there, talk to your healthcare provider. Talk to your healthcare provider. If you trust your healthcare provider, if you don't trust your healthcare provider, find another one that you can trust.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll say about this is, we always say follow the money, but I also would say question people who are telling you not to do something that they've done.
And with that, we're signing off for the night. Thank you for tuning in to Hey Sister. We appreciate you watching, and we'll be back soon.